to Melbourne, where qualifying for the Australian Grand Prix should be getting underway shortly. With the first qualifying session of the season about to start, we should find out the performance level of the new cars and who might be contenders for this year's championship. But with rain falling, it's going to mix up the field.
We expect the Mercedes power unit to be strong this season, but with today's weather, we may not get a true indication of which team came out strongest from pre-season testing.
How's it going, guys, and welcome to the Force India Championship Season Career Mode, where we'll be driving as one of the Force India drivers as we try to emulate their fantastic real-life season, finishing 5th in the Constructors' Championship. The driver we have gone for, you guys voted for, and it was a clear winner with 60% of the votes went to Sergio Perez, or Checo as he's well known, and I'm looking forward to driving as Sergio Perez there. And as you saw there, that is the set I am running. It's a mix of a dry and a wet set, as you can see it is raining for qualifying, and had a suspicion that it may be dry for the race or have a mix of wet to dry or dry to wet. So I thought I'd play it safe and go down the middle with the set. So we're currently in P6 at the minute, which is a fantastic start for our career mode here, as we've got Fernando Alonso ahead of us, this was our final lap as well. Kind of held us up a bit here in this first sector as we're coming into turn 3, as we're going to have to do a dive bomb here just to make sure, nearly making contact there with Alonso. Might have made a slight bit there, but nothing too major. Lost maybe a tenth or two just from that, taking a really weird line into turn 3. But we're coming to the start of the second sector now, and we're already up on Sebastian Vettel in the first sector. We're only 4 tenths up on our PB. But obviously, this Force India, I've mainly set this to be more with more downforce, so we'll struggle in this middle sector with this back straight now. And the last sector, the AI are OP round, so we were not expecting to get pole position anytime soon. But you can see we just lose half a second there in the middle sector alone. Lost a chunk of time there, as the conditions are getting slightly worse for these intermediates, so we were struggling from this last sector onwards on the lap, as the running out of fuel here, and also 30 seconds, so I had to really not think about being over aggressive and not getting a decent map time. And P6 would have been nice, but I was hoping to try and get into the top 5 would be very nice indeed. Being very cautious now, short shifting to 4th before the final corner, getting straight onto the gas there, coming down the main straight now. Are we going to improve on our time? And that answer is yes, to a 34 flat, and puts us P4 on the grid. But now let's head for Sunday for race day.
Tyre temperatures are in the optimal range. The crowd are here, and they're here in numbers for the first race of the season. Welcome to the Australian Grand Prix. I'm really looking forward to today's race, but with Sebastian Vettel on pole, you do wonder if it's going to be another championship winning season for the German driver.
Well, Seb has been in this position so many times before, and I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't go on from here and win today's race. Whether he has the car to beat the Mercedes over the entire season, though, is a completely different matter.
Felipe Massa looks to have the edge over Valtteri Bottas this weekend. He'll be hoping to cement that by finishing ahead of his teammate in today's race.
Felipe has been looking quick this weekend, and if he can carry that into today's race, he could be on for a good result. As for Valtteri, he wasn't looking comfortable with his setup yesterday, and we'll hope it works better for him over the long stints today.
So as you saw there, we were P5 as someone pipped us to 4th. So I was a bit annoyed with that, but as you can see, we've got a free stop strategy according to Jeff, giving us a nice pit strategy there. As we're onto the grid now for the start of round 1 of the Perez career mode. The lights are on, and we are away for a brand new season, and we get a decent start off the line there, not having a lot of wheel spin, maintaining 5th position from Felipe Massa, who's on our inside. We're going to be very cautious into turn 1 here, and there's some contact behind I heard in the game, so I was hoping it wasn't me, but we got away with it. As the top 4 of basically the Ferraris and the Mercedes are pulling away slowly, with Vettel leading as he drives off into the distance there. My aim at this point was to just stay with the top 4 as long as possible in lean to save some fuel around here, as Australia is quite demanding on fuel, which I discovered throughout this race, as we make a bit of a late breakdown, just push us a bit wide and had to put a lot of lock in to stop us going into the gravel there and lose any positions. But knowing that lean wasn't the best option. As you can see, we're already plus on our fuel. As you can see, just losing the back end there as our intermediates aren't up to temperature as of yet. And Massa is all over the back of us already. He's got the inside line there with Verstappen right on his trumpets as well. So at this point, after that little moment, I just thought, try and be very careful there as I make a bit of a corner cut there, which didn't really help me a lot because Massa's gained time on me either way. I'm correcting there as we got Rosberg on the back of Kimi Raikkonen there, as Hamilton is now on the back of Vettel. So both Mercedes there really struggling really behind the Ferraris. Is that something we're going to see throughout the season? We'll have to wait and see. But back to us now, we're still somewhat in the region of about 2 seconds to Rosberg, as we're still trying to get some grip in these tyres as the back end slides out, as the AI have got a bit of an advantage over us in these wet conditions, as they have slightly much better traction than us, with us being on no assist there. And you can see we braked really badly there, and we just went a bit late into the corner, and Massa gets through into 4th position actually, sorry, as we've got Ricciardo on the inside as well, as we're going to try and go around his outside to regain back 6th position, and we just get it done. But Massa just ahead of us there, so I was a bit disappointed with that. That one mistake in turn 1 cost us really a position, but we need to maintain this and keep posure and just keep pushing really and try and get a decent points finish in our first race. That was really the goal here, if the conditions stayed as they are. But we're going all the way to lap 5, as we've got Raikkonen and Massa squabbling for 5th, I think it's for 4th place on there, as they both make contact there. The yellow flags are out. Raikkonen's having a bit of a spin. We narrowly avoid losing a front wing there, but that was very close. Massa surely must have a penalty for the collision with Raikkonen, or Raikkonen might have the collision as well. We're not too sure. We have to wait until the end of the race to find that out on there, but we just got away with that somehow, as we gain a position from there. I'm up to 5th place and Massa up to 4th with his teammate Bottas behind us now, 2 tenths behind, and as we are now in a Williams sandwich, which is something that I don't want to experience, as the Williams are okay in the wet, as but with the dry conditions coming, as Jeff was mentioning throughout this race, that the track was going to get drier as come to the end of the race. So as we go a bit wide here on lap 6, and we lose the back end there, being very cheeky with the throttle, trying to get as much power as possible, and we lose 2 positions out of it, as Massa there is retired from the race there, parked up on the left hand side with an engine failure, it looks like, as he is the first man to retire from the season, the 2015 season here, as we're already on the back of Ricciardo and Bottas on lap 7, with Ricciardo's teammate Kvyat now behind us, as now we are now from a Williams sandwich, we're now in a Red Bull sandwich at this point. But we're being very careful here with the brakes, as you saw after that moment we had into turn 1, sorry, a few laps ago. I was being very cautious with brakes around here. I was flickering with the brake bias quite a lot in this race, just to see if it makes any difference to stop us from over braking or braking too early and getting a lot of oversteer. As some of you may know that I like to run my sets with a bit of oversteer in it, because I just prefer over understeer. So as you can see there, lap 7, the tyres look okay for now, but with the light getting less and less bad, as the track will start to get drier throughout this race, as Ricciardo now trying to go down the inside of Bottas there for 4th place, and he's got the inside line, but Bottas is holding it nicely around the outside. I'm thinking of a move here, but I back out of it because I don't really want to make another contact like Massa and Raikkonen did. So I was just staying behind them and waiting for the moment to come, as they're still side by side, Ricciardo and Bottas, as they both will pit on laps at the end of lap 7, with me thinking to stay out as long as possible on these intermediates as we go on to lap 10, with Hamilton now behind us and Rosberg as well, who have already pitted for a new set of inters, as I was trying to think when is the best time to pit. The tyres look okay, but obviously Hamilton and Rosberg and co behind, who have all pitted, will have a fresh set, so they'll be gaining a few seconds on us as the back end slides out there. So I knew from that point I would have to pit. After 10 laps on a set of intermediates, I was feeling pretty optimistic, as the rest of the pack may have to do an extra pit stop than us once we get to that point, as we go into the pits, as Rosberg sets a new fastest lap of 33.9, as I put an extra bit of wing on there as well in that pit stop, and a new set of intermediate tyres, as we will think will pop out just behind Ricciardo here and Bottas, who obviously pitted 4 laps ago. So they obviously did the very nice undercut on us and gained a few seconds, and we just get out ahead of Daniel Kvyat, Ricciardo's teammate. So I was being very optimistic here that we could get a decent points here in 6th place. As we move on to the next lap, and we can see Ricciardo and Bottas are going for round 2 of their battle, and they're side by side through turn 3 and coming up to turn 4. They're still going at it. The AI can be aggressive, but they can be very good battling against each other, as they're still side by side, and Bottas has to lift up, so we're going to take the opportunity down his inside and then round the outside maybe of Ricciardo into this next corner. He takes a bit of curb, slowing him down, and we pull a great move round the outside, and we gain 2 positions in the space of 1.5 corners, and we're up to 4th place. And just hit a bit of grass there, pushing us a bit wide, but we still maintain the position. And we try to catch up to Vettel, but the gap, as you can see, is quite far away. Moving on to lap 15 now, as we just go a bit wide here onto this point, as we see a few people making some pit stops here just ahead of us, as we have the DRS now enabled on as the rest of the guys pit. Ricciardo's in as well, as Vettel is coming out the pit lane, and I think that is a Mercedes in front of us of Nico Rosberg as well, and I think Hamilton stayed out, so Rosberg has an advantage here. What tyres is he on? He is on, I think that is a set of Inters again. I'm not too sure, it could be a set of Primes. We have to wait and see, as we're going to try and make a bold move down the inside of Rosberg, which we have done. Rosberg's on a set of intermediates, he's got the inside now for next corner. We have a bit of a moment there, and we get glued to Rosberg, and we both spin round, and we make a bit of contact there, getting a warning for the collision, and Rosberg is still in the wall, but he decides to reverse it out, and we both continue. And I think Rosberg may have got away with not losing any of his front wing, but it was a bit naughty from me really to be aggressive through that corner, and we just lost the back end a bit there, and then the game decided to glue us in. The next lap, 16, you see Verstappen now ahead of us on there, as obviously we've made a mistake somewhere, obviously with Rosberg, so we're trying to catch up there to Verstappen, but we're going to pit now and make a bold strategy now onto the option tyres. Jeff was mentioning throughout the moment we lost it with Rosberg that we needed to maybe come in for some option tyres, as Kvyat got held up there from us coming into the pit lane. As actually we put a set of intermediates on actually, so I was take that back. But the track, as you can see, is getting drier. The rain is getting lighter as it goes. So I was thinking here maybe as we lose the back end there, as Rosberg now comes out ahead of us, that it's near the time to pit for the option tyres, as the track, as you can see, there isn't a lot of standing water. It's maybe a tiny bit wet. So Jeff was mentioning to go on the options, but I decided to stay out on the intermediates for another set. As you can see, the tyres are already into temperature, but the rears are, maybe the fronts are a bit cooler than the rears are. So I was trying to think here when to pit really for the options. Maybe we should have, maybe we haven't, but we'll continue anyway as we go on to the middle sector here, as we're just trying to maintain as much grip as possible on these inters before we make the switch to the option tyres or even the primes. But we move on to lap 19 now, and as you can see, there is literally no rain at all. There's only little spits now, as we've already caught up to the back of Daniel Kvyat now, who I expect must be pitting anytime soon, as it is now nearly dry conditions, perfect conditions. We lose it on the exit of the penultimate corner as Kvyat pits along with the rest of the pack, including Sebastian Vettel and Nico Rosberg and Ricciardo as well. And as you can see, Vettel just coming out the pit lane there, so we are going to come out around about second position there. Coming on to lap 20 now, Vettel on the dry tyres now, already on the back of us here. As you can just see there, that I had to make the call to pit now, because if I stayed out any longer I will lose so much time to the rest of the guys around me, as we make that decision now onto the option tyres, which helped me thinking I may get to the end on a set of options. It is a bold strategy here. No idea how long the options are, but I was going to guess around about 8 laps, so hopefully by the time we get to the end of the race we should be fine on these. But according to the pit stop, we've only got 4 laps on them, so I was thinking Maybe I should have gone to the primes, maybe, and it would have got me to the end. But we're going to come out just ahead of Ricciardo there. Not Ricciardo, Kvyat, sorry. Back into 6th place, but we've gained a bit on Daniel Kvyat, so I was very happy with that, really, that little stint there in our battle between us and the Red Bulls. But obviously my goal was to catch up to Rosberg, who's got a Williams ahead of him, so but I had to be very careful. It is still greasy on the track in most parts of the lap, including this middle sector, so I had to be very careful not to hit any of the curbs as we break into this corner now. Put power down, we lose the back end, and he hit the wall there, losing a bit of our end plate, which costs us a lot of grip and made us go really slowly round the lap. As you can see, really struggling to get anything from this car, so I'm going to take it now to right at the end of the lap. And as you can see, we are still struggling for any grip with the broken end plate, as we've got a train of cars behind us of Kvyat leading it. But we're going back into the pits again a lap later to put a new set of options on, and most importantly a new front wing, which is going to put us all the way down the pack now. From what was going to be a decent finish for us, is going to be a hell of a task to even get a point, as our teammate sets the fastest lap of 32.4 on a set of the prime tyres as we now leave our box. And you can see Kimi Raikkonen's down in 15th place, obviously with the contact he had with Massa in the early stages of the race, trying to work his way back up the field, as we're going to come out in 16th place behind one of the McLaren Hondas, and Will Stevens is ahead of Jenson Button of all people. So Stevens is doing a fantastic job in the manor on there, as we're going to go on now to lap 23, sorry, with Alonso ahead of us. So I was trying to think here when to try and make a move on Alonso, because the more we stay behind him, the longer it's going to be for us to try and catch up and gain any points. As you can see, there's a few markers on the track on there, so we're going to get a nice exit there. Alonso losing the back end there gives us an advantage now to go round his outside before this next corner, and we get it done nicely for 15th place on there, as we're going to now try and catch up to the Ferrari of Kimi Raikkonen ahead of us with only 7 laps remaining of this race, as we're going to move now on to the next part, which is lap 25, as we've got Max Verstappen behind us now, obviously making his pit stop. But we go a bit wide, hit the gravel, and again we lose it again, and we lose our front wing for the 2nd time. But worse now is we lost all of our wing, but luckily it's just before the pit entry, so I was kind of lucky there. But for the 3rd time, I think for the 4th time actually, we make a pit stop for another set of dry tyres and also a new front wing. So it's not going well now. From what a great start, from a good qualifying and then a decent points finish on the cars, we're now trying to not finish last. So I'd only apologise for this, but kind of got the call wrong. I was very aggressive on the dry tyres in the greasy conditions, so something to learn from the next round at Malaysia if it is raining. And Jenson Button now passes us, as Hamilton now sets a 27.8, who's just coming towards turn 1, so we're on course to be lapped here. That's how bad our race has been for our first race as Sergio Perez. But my main goal was to not get lapped here, as I believe Hamilton has to pit again, as Roberto Merri is in 18th and last, so I don't want to be there. Once he's not last actually, Will Stevens is last, which is obviously typical of him. But as you can see, we're really pushing now. I wanted to try and get a fastest lap of the race here. Got a bit of blue flag there, but it went away as we're starting to pull away from Hamilton, who is on worn options, who I believe has to pit again, which is a bit bizarre there. Button has a bit of a lock up there, which gives us a chance now into that draft of the McLaren Honda, obviously, which is very slow in a straight line. We get a very nice run there. We go round his outside, who is on the prime tyres. Get it done nicely. We've gone purple in the middle sector as well, as we move up to 16th place with NASA 10 seconds up the road. And I was just thinking it's not even going to happen. We're going to stay where we are in 16th place. But moving on to lap 27 now, as we're going to take turn 4 nicely, hit the curb there, and we lose the back end there with the power. And again, for the 3rd time, we lose our front wing, as we're going to move on now to the end of 27, and Vettel, the race leader, is about to lap us, and unfortunately guys, we are going to get lapped. Something I would never say in a video of mine, but it's just been a very poor race from us. From the moment we switched to the option tyres in greasy condition, it just went horribly wrong for us. but it is something we can take away and learn from it, as our goal now is to not finish last. That is our main option now. As we're going to come in now for a set of the option tyres again, as Will Stevens has not passed us yet, which is always nice, so we're going to stay in 17th it seems. But here comes another car, and this is Will Stevens. It's going to go past us now as he crosses the finish line in 8th place. We've only got one more lap realistically, as Vettel has already lapped us. So I would like to get past at least both Mana Marushas are not finished between them in the sandwich, as we move on to lap 28, which is technically our last lap of the race here. And Sebastian Vettel will take victory in the first round of this career mode. But are we going to get past Will Stevens maybe? It's going to be close, because we are already on the back of him with fresh tyres as Hamilton sets the fastest lap to finish. Dismal pitting really so many times, 5 times he pitted. We make a move on Stevens there, but it wasn't enough. We're going to get DRS on the last corner. Are we going to get past him? It's a drag race between us and the Mana, and we comfortably get past Will Stevens, and we finish in 17th. Not the best way to start the series off. Bit disappointing from where we had a decent qualifying on there, but we can take it for the next round of the championship, which is of course in Malaysia. But if you guys enjoyed this, let me know by posting a comment below and hitting the like button. If we get 100 likes, we will post the next round as soon as possible. But until next time guys, have a fantastic day, and I shall see you for round 2 in Malaysia. Until then, take care guys, and see you later.